Jesse Jackson has died. Can you believe it? I always thought to myself, Jesse Jackson will never die. He's gonna live forever. But he died this morning with family and friends around him. And we heard that he died peacefully in his sleep. Now, whether you agree with all of his views or not, there's no denying the impact he had on American history, the civil rights movement, and the role of faith in public life. And as Christians, moments like this aren't just about politics or public opinion. They're about legacy, influence, and the condition of someone's soul as they go on to meet God. So today on Christian Views Shared, we're gonna look at some videos where they're reflecting on his life, his impact, and what believers can learn in moments like this that's happening today. And we're gonna be also reacting to the videos. So let's switch the screen and watch. Let's go over here and watch some of these videos.
Well, that breaking news that's just coming in, being confirmed by our partners NBC News in the United States, that the Reverend Jesse Jackson, a towering figure of the US civil rights movement, has died at the age of 84. It's been announced that Reverend Jesse Jackson passed away peacefully in Chicago. His family say surrounded by loved ones. Now, Jesse Jackson's career spanned at least 7 decades, going all the way back to the late 50s, early 1960s, when he was a protege of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He worked all the way through the 60s and 70s civil rights.
I think he was actually about 24 in 1965 when he hooked up with Martin Luther King. So Jesse Jackson's been around like forever, and he hooked up with Martin Luther King at a very, very young age. So I think Martin Luther King used to be his mentor. So, you know, he learned from the best.
Those bus boycotts, those marches in Salem and other places, as he fought for black people in America to have the same rights as their white counterparts. Remember, this was a time when Jesse Jackson was working in those early days where there was effective segregation in the southern states of the United States. Black people weren't able to access schooling. Black people weren't even able to go to the same restaurants as white people. Black people had to sit on the back of buses. Reverend Jesse Jackson, along with people like Martin Luther King and others, fought for those changes, and the Reverend Jesse Jackson fought for those changes all the way through his career, passing away peacefully, we are told, at his home in Chicago in earlier today. He was 84. He also came to greater national prominence in the 1980s. He ran twice unsuccessfully to be the Democratic nominee for president, once in 1984, and then perhaps more memorably, certainly for me anyway, in 1988, where he, for many people, stood out as a candidate whose perhaps time had come. There would be a black candidate put forward by the Democratic Party for president. Of course, that did not come to pass, and it was another over 15 years until the Democrats were able to put a black candidate forward for president. That man was Barack Obama, who of course went on to become president in 2008. Well, that breaking news that's...
Well, people, can you believe it? Jesse Jackson is dead, he's gone, and it's a very, 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 very sad day. So let's watch a few more videos on Jesse Jackson and find out a bit more deeper, a deeper dive into who he was.
Jesse Jackson was the first candidate for U.S. president.
We must expand our party, heal our party, and unify our party
In his first run in 1984, Jackson finished third in the Democratic primary with 18% of the vote, performing far better than expected. He fought for marginalized voters and expanded the black vote in Democratic politics.
We must come together and form the Rainbow Coalition.
But his campaign suffered after he used an ethnic slur to refer to New York Jews.
There's mistakes and they hurt.
He ran again in 1988 and doubled his vote count, finishing second in the Democratic race.
Keep hope alive.
Decades before running for president, he was a leader in the civil rights movement and worked for Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
I learned so much from him. Such a great source of inspiration.
Today, his presidential campaigns are remembered as a turning point for black candidates.
But 20 years later, when President Barack ran, he would land the groundwork for that season.
So there you have it. Jesse Jackson was definitely a man of influence. And as believers, our response should be prayer. Prayer for the family, prayers for those impacted by his life, prayers for our nation. And it should also cause us to examine our own lives. What legacies are we building? Are we walking in truth? Are we ready to stand up in front of God right now? Because we're alive now, but a suddenly moment can happen when suddenly you're gone. When suddenly the Lord decides that it's time for you to leave the earth. So people, listen, it's a sad day today, Continue to pray for the family, friends, continue to pray for them because they're grieving at this present moment and, they must be feeling, very, very low. So before I go, I'd just like to say, rest in peace, Reverend Jesse Jackson. You have definitely been an influence in the time that you've been here on this earth, an influence to everybody around the world. The world knows you, Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson.